Hey guys, it's Andy here, and we're back looking at decks in Standard. This is a Mardu Angel deck that I put together for you guys. I actually put it together during the period between all the cards being spoiled, then being put on X-Mage, and the set being released. So I've been playing this deck for a long time. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I'm just going to talk about the main board here, touch on the sideboard, and interactions between, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So to start off the lineup, we're running 4 copies of Lyra Dawnbringer. Lyra is for 5, 3, and 2 white. She's a 5/5 legendary creature angel. She has flying, first strike, and lifelink, and gives other angels you control +1/+1 and have lifelink. Absolute all-star, can absolutely shut down aggro decks as soon as she hits the board. Playing Angel Tribal especially, giving all of our creatures lifelink, that amount of life gain they just can't come back from. The evasion's insanely good, the lifelink's insanely good, the anthem's insanely good, and first strike on a 5/5 is no joke. Lyra's the real deal. Definitely got to be running her in a 4 of, even though she's legendary. We do want the effects that she's got happening as often as possible. Adding to the insanely good angels that we have, we're running 4 copies of Resplendent Angel, which is for 3, 1, and 2 white. 3/3 angel with flying, and at the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. You can also pay 6, 3, and 3 white, until in a turn Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink. So if you got the mana to turn her on, she can turn into a 5/5 with lifelink and then generate her own tokens anyway. But if we've got stuff like Lyra out, if they attack into us, we can gain the life, triggering her ability. Or on our turn, us swinging in, we can gain the life, triggering her ability. Resplendent is an all-star in this deck. It's not going anywhere. Got to be running in at 4 of. Also mythic to come out at M19. Then it brings us on to the new angels that have come out with the Ravnica Allegiance and Guilds of Ravnica sets. So we're running 3 copies of Seraph of the Scales, which is for 4, 2, a white, and a black. She's a 4/3 angel with flying, and then pay 1 white to gain vigilance, pay 1 black to gain death strike until end of turn, and also has Afterlife 2. So if this creature would die, you get 2 1/1 white and black spirit creature tokens with flying. So you get value out of it, even if it dies. Insanely good card. And she's one of the biggest reasons why we're running Mardu at all. Going back to the Boros Angels, we've got to go with the OG, Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, running in a 2 of. She's for 4, 2, a red, and a white. A 2/5 legendary angel with flying and mentor. So when it attacks, you put a +1 counter on a target attacking creature with less power. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you can choose up to 1 target creature you control. Until end of turn, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample if it's red, and it gains vigilance if it's white. To finish off the angels in the deck, we're running a single copy of Angel of Grace, which is for 5, 3, and 2 white. She's a 5/4 angel with flash and flying, and then when an Angel of Grace enters the battlefield, until in a turn, damage that will reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. She's also got for 6, 4, and 2 white, you can exile Angel of Grace from your graveyard, and your life total becomes 10. So it's just another way that we can prevent ourselves from dying. I have seen other decks running her in multiple copies. Awesome card, being flash and flying, playing it on their end step and being able to swing in on their turn. Adding to the creatures, we're running 4 copies of Adanto Vanguard, which is for 2, 1 and a white. It's a 1/1 vampire soldier. As long as it's attacking, it's +2/+0, and it's got pay 4 life. It gains indestructible until end of turn. So damage and destroy effects don't destroy it. Insanely good card. It's played in a hell of a lot of aggro decks. It can stick around for ages. We have no shortage of life in this deck. The life gain we can have means that we can keep this indestructible throughout the game, and it just means we've got a continuous indestructible blocker that can also go on the offensive from the early game. Really good card. Finishing off the creatures, we're running 3 copies of Tithe Taker, which is for 2, 1 and a white. It's a 2/1 human soldier. With during your turn, spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate cost 1 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. Adding a bit of taxes to the deck, Tithe Taker is an insanely good card. It's also got Afterlife 1, so when it dies, you get a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. So again, another creature that gives you value after it's dead, but being able to tax anything that they're trying to play against us in our turn, always going to be good. Insanely good card, definitely worth having in a 3 of. The rest of the spells in the deck is pretty much all removal, so we're going to go through it now. We're running 3 copies of Lava Coil, which is for 2, 1 and a red. At sorcery speed, it deals 4 damage to target creature, and if that creature would die this turn, you exile it instead. There's so much recursion in Standard at the moment. Lava Coil is a really good card. Rekindling Phoenix is a pain in the ass. There's a lot of the Golgari stuff that can keep coming back from the graveyard. Being able to exile it instead of just have it go to the graveyard, always a good thing. On the exile plan, and also an answer for Planeswalkers, we're running 3 copies of Vraska's Contempt, which is for 4, 2, and 2 black. At instant speed, you exile target creature or Planeswalker, and you gain 2 life. It's again exiling, It's answering Planeswalkers, which are really prominent in Standard at the moment, and it's gaining us a little bit of life. Everything about Vraskas is good. Something else that's really prominent in Standard at the moment is enchantments, so we're also running 3 copies of Mortify in the main deck here. So Mortify is for 3, 1, a white and a black. At instant speed, you destroy target creature or enchantment. Versatility on it, it's not just killing enchantments, it's able to hit creatures as well. Instant speed removal is always going to be a good thing, but with the Nexus of Gates deck and all of these things trying to break Wilderness Reclamation, or even the Gates decks just trying to run the Guild Summits or Search for Counters, all of these enchantments that are in Standard at the moment, being able to hit them, insanely good. Adding to our creature removal, we're also running 2 copies of Settle the Wreckage, which is for 4, 2, and 2 white. At instant speed, you exile all attacking creatures target player controls, and that player may search his or her library for that many basic land cards, put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle their library. Absolutely hoses the aggro decks that are in Standard at the moment. If we're playing against a deck that's not running enough creatures to merit having this in the deck, we just swap it out for something else straight away. Great card. Again, continuing with the removal, and it's a card that I think gets overlooked quite a bit, is Justice Strike, that we're running into 2 of. It's for Boros colors, so red and a white. At instant speed, target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Finishing off the spells for the deck, last but not least, is the 2 copies of Cast Down, which is for 2, 1, and a black. At instant speed, you destroy target non-legendary creature. This deck is a prime example. There's a lot of really good creatures in this deck that we're running that aren't legendary. Instant speed removal is always going to be a good thing. And at a 2 cost, 1 and a black, it's great. Touching on the land base here, it does look a bit silly, but trust me, it works. We're running a lot of 3-ofs, so we're running a 3-of Blood Crypt, which is a Swamp Mountain, comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. A 3-of Dragon Skull Summit comes in tapped unless you control a swamp or mountain, tap for black or red. A 3-of Sacred Foundry, which is a mountain plains, comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. A 3-of Clifftop Retreat, which comes in tapped unless you control a mountain or plains, tap for red or white. A 3-of Godless Shrine, which is a plain swamp that comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. A 3-of Isolated Chapel, which comes in tapped unless you control a plains or swamp, tap for white or black. 3 swamps and 3 plains. You can see we're not running any mountains in the main deck here. There are 12 lands in the deck that tap for red sources of the 24, so half the deck can tap for red. I didn't find that it was something that we really needed in the deck, so mountains wasn't really a thing that I was too worried about. Just touching on the sideboard here, for the Planeswalker matchups, we are running 3 copies of Sorcerer's Spyglass, an artifact that comes in at a 2 cost. You look at an opponent's hand, then you may choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Fairly specifically in there for the Planeswalker matchups, absolutely hoses them. Really great card for it. For 1 black at sorcery speed, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, and that player discards that card. 2 copies of Shalai, Voice of Plenty, again for the control matchups, which is for 4, 3, and a white. It's a 3/4 legendary creature angel with flying, and you, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. And it's also got for 6, 4 and 2 green, which we don't have in the deck, so we can't really use it. You could definitely be running Shalai in the main board. Up to your discretion what you want to do with it. I just like having her as a bit of a toolbox answer in the sideboard for games 2 and 3. For the graveyard matchups, we're running 2 copies of Sentinel Totem, which is for 1. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield, and when it enters the battlefield, you scry 1, and it's got tap, exile Sentinel Totem, exile all cards from all graveyards. More for the aggro and weenie matchups, 2 copies of Deafening Clarion, which is for 3, 1, a red and a white. At sorcery speed, you choose 1 or both. Deafening Clarion deals 3 damage to each creature, and creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. So if we play Deafening Clarion and we have a Lyra out, none of our angels actually die. All of our angels become above 3 toughness. So it can a lot of the time become a one-sided board wipe, especially in the aggro matchups. And then the amount of life that we can gain off that, insane. For the control matchups again, we're running 2 copies of Banefire, which is X and 1 red. At sorcery speed, Banefire deals X damage to any target, and then if X is 5 or more, this spell can't be countered and the damage can't be prevented. And to finish off the sideboard, we're running a single copy of Argyl's Bloodfast, which is a legendary enchantment for 2. So for 1 and a black, you can pay 2, 1 and a black, and pay 2 life to draw a card. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 5 or less life, you may transform Argyl's Bloodfast. When you do, Temple of Aklazots, which has tap for black, or tap sacrifice a creature, you gain life equal to the sacrifice creature's toughness. Depending on the matchup, the tap sack gain life ability can be huge, letting us claw our way back into a game. You could be running more copies of Argyl's Bloodfast in the sideboard here, or even in the main deck, because the draw card is just insanely good. So that is the sideboard, and that is Mardu Angels in Standard.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see new videos as they were released. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, you can throw me $1 on my Patreon at patreon.com/SandersQuest. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep questing, guys.